Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. And after the last blog I made, I want to blog something good to get that dino trash off my back. So, let's talk about an old English legend known as King Arthur. For those who don't know, King Arthur is a legendary British leader who, according to medieval histories and romances, led the defense of Britain against Saxon invaders in the late 5th and early 6th centuries. The details of Arthur's story are mainly composed of folklore and literary invention, and his historical existence is debated and disputed by modern historians. Like most legendary British stories, King Arthur has been adapted into many film adaptations, like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and A Kid in King Arthur's Court. However, my introduction to the legendary story was by watching the Walt Disney film The Sword and the Stone from 1963. But for details on that, I'll have to save it for another time when I do a blog on it. However, the King Arthur movie I'll be blogging today is a recent film that was given to us by 20th Century Fox. Well, a modern-day adaptation, but an adaptation nonetheless. So, released on January 25th, 2019, the movie is The Kid Who Would Be King. So, let's get started. Alex is a young boy who is picked on at school and does not appear to be very special at all. However, that soon changes when he finds and pulls King Arthur's famous sword Excalibur from a building site. He discovers that he is destined to form a new round table for an upcoming battle with the medieval villain Morgana, who summons evil forces to take over the world. So, what do I think? Well, in my opinion, this was a pretty good movie, and it's not bad for a King Arthur film. But let's move on to Mustang notes. The film was written and directed by Joe Cornish, whose directorial debut was Attack the Block. He has also co-written films like The Adventures of Tintin and Marvel's Ant-Man. The film was distributed by 20th Century Fox, with Working Title Films and Big Talk Productions collaborating to produce the movie. Principal photography on the film began on September 25, 2017 in London, and it was shot in Cornwall. The visual effects were provided by DNEG, Rodeo Effects, Peerless, and TPO Visual Effects, and were supervised by Joel Green, Anton Molinlo, Morent Gillette, Mark Hutchlings, Jack Hughes, and Fraser Churchill. Now, I also need to note that while this movie mostly received positive reviews from critics, it was sadly a box office bomb, with estimated losses for the studio ranging as high as $50 million. But, aside from that, in my opinion, as said during many of my British-related blogs, this movie does bring back memories from when I visited London back in summer 2010. Same goes for Stonehenge. Speaking of which, I think it's interesting how Stonehenge is used like a portal for Merlin to time travel, as well as a way of getting to another destination in the UK. Also, the road trip in this movie is very breathtaking, even though it's mostly done on foot. And I also like the training scene and the fight scenes. Plus, several parts of the movie feel very reminiscent to such stuff like Kingdom Hearts, A Kid in King Arthur's Court, Minions, and Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness. Plus, I like that this movie mentions such other fantasy films like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. Also, the final battle in the movie that takes place at the school is very epic. However, there is one scene in the film that I didn't really like that much, and it involved desertion, or something like that. Anyway, let's move on to the cast. Our main character, Alexander Elliot, is played by Louis Ashbourne Serkis, the son of the great Andy Serkis, who has been in Alice 2 and Mary and the Witch's Flower. To me, Alex is a good-hearted kid, and I think he's very brave while going through many dangers to save London from being enslaved. Also, I can almost feel his mental pain after we find out that his father was never a good man, and that Alex's mom has lied to him all this time. Next we have Alex's best friend, Beaters, played by Dean Chaumu. In my opinion, Beaters seems like a great kid, and I like how he sticks by Alex throughout the movie. Also, he has a fascination for magic tricks. These are Lance and Kay, played by Tom Taylor and Rihanna Doris. These two start out as the typical school bullies, but after learning about Alex's role with Excalibur, they join forces with him and Beaters. However, even after they were knighted, they were still pretty much selfish cowards, but they do get better as the film progresses. The wizard Merlin is played by Angus Emery, and as a wizard, he's played by the great Patrick Stewart. Merlin is a wizard who was an ally of King Arthur. In order to keep watch over Alex and blend in with the other students, he takes the form of a teenager. In my opinion, this version of Merlin is quite different. I mean, yes, he's a wise wizard who uses magic and strange hand gestures, but he relies on fried chicken and ice cream for energy in the modern world. Finally, we come to Morgana Le Fay, played by Rebecca Ferguson, who starred as M16 agent Lisa Faust in 2 of the Mission Impossible movies, and she also played Jenny Lind in The Greatest Showman, and she had supporting parts in Florence Foster Jenkins and The Girl on the Train. And of course, she'll be in the upcoming Men in Black International movie. Anyway, Morgana is the evil sorceress and old nemesis of Merlin, as well as her half-brother King Arthur, and all of Camelot. And in my opinion, she's a legendary villain. Vengeful, scary, and just devilishly evil. Even while she's trapped in Tartarus, she's very threatening by using black roots to spy on Alex and his friends, and possess the training trees, and at night, she sends an army of undead flame knights to attack the kids. The rest of the cast includes Denise Gough and Genevieve O'Reilly. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, The Kid Who Would Be King is a good live-action film to start off the new year. It tells a good modern-day King Arthur story. The setting in the UK is great. The fight scenes and the final battle is epic. Louis Serkis and the other kid actors do great with their roles. Plus, Rebecca Ferguson makes Morgana a very threatening villain. So, I give this film an 89% out of 100. Well, that's it for today. Be sure to join me next time for the Chinese New Year as we look into a very special pig-related movie, though not one you'd expect, though. Mustang Power.